How do you explain what AI is to business owners that barely even have a website? Hi, my name is Karen Hite, co-founder of Hite Digital and owner of the Commitment Summit and Committed Mastermind. And in this video, I want to help you create a presentation and we'll even give you the presentation so you can make it your own in your next online or in-person presentation. If you haven't liked or subscribed to this channel and want to get more resources like this, make sure to do it now. Okay, so let's go straight to it. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to guide you through the presentation that I created for we were doing actually a Chamber of Commerce. We were doing a presentation on AI, and I had different business owners coming from different backgrounds. We were doing this event, and by the way, we do a lot of like virtual and online events, so we have more resources on that if you're interested in getting some more of that. But this specifically, we were doing a paid event, and I had all sorts of different niches and backgrounds. Some of them had never utilized AI in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Some of them were like a little bit more savvy. But when you're selling an event and when you're doing an event, especially if you're doing like a co-partnership event with a Chamber of Commerce, you really don't know exactly the backgrounds of all of these people, right? So what I did is I created a presentation that would work with whoever you're talking to. It would give them value. It would be able to allow you to be able to have deep conversations with these people, and we'll give them a basic foundational knowledge that you can build another presentation on to go even deeper. So I want to share with you right here. The first thing what I did is just like explaining what AI is, right? So like the first thing here, I was just sharing my own experience of when I first heard about ChatGPT, for example. That was like the big boom, I think, 2 years ago or a year ago. I remember like thinking it was a shiny object, and I was like, I'm not going to focus on that. I have a digital marketing agency. I support marketing agency owners. I understand how we do content and all those things. I never thought that it would be what it is today. Now, this is 2024. So if you're watching this video later on, just know that, yeah, it's probably has changed so much. But for me, it was initially a shiny object. And I wanted to like share that because a lot of people feel like, oh, like I'm just going to continue doing what I'm doing today because I feel like that's way better. I already have a process. I don't need to incorporate AI into that. I know it sounds crazy for some of you watching, but that's a reality of some people, right? And so we are located in Arkansas. And the Chamber of Commerce that we're in had different, backgrounds, as I mentioned. Some of them like were very new to even like websites and digital marketing. Like they didn't have like an understanding of that. So this was really pushing them, right? So I explained what AI is, what it can help with. And by the way, again, I'm going to share the slides. You should have them as a link in the comments over here. So you should be able to like get them, but I want to explain them to you and what the structure was for the presentation, right? So I also wanted to make sure that they knew what AI could help with, right? I wanted to make sure that they understood that, hey, AI could help you with a bunch of different stuff that could help you navigate even life, right? Like it doesn't have to be just thinking, for work. Like it can be so many things. So like in here, I share business benefits and personal benefits because I think the more you use ChatGPT in this case, the more you use it, the more comfortable you get with it and the more creative you can get. And like everybody has their own problems, right? Like I think we all share very similar problems, but them applying it to something that is specifically happening them today at that point and be able to like get that back and forth with ChatGPT or AI, it's going to give them big wins, right? So the next thing I was just like sharing with them some of the you want to build value and authority in this content, right? Of like what are other publications saying about this? Why is this not just my opinion or your opinion if you're presenting the slides? How can you make this something that they understand? And like I try to look for articles and references that would speak to the group that I had, right? So talking about adaptation as well, like why if we don't adapt? Like what is in any presentation, if you have ever done a presentation, you have to not only include, and I want you to see the structure, right? Like we're talking about the concepts, kind of like helping them understand and like relate to it. But then we want to make sure that we understand what is after this presentation, you have a decision to make, right? You either go for it and start adapting, or you do not. And those decisions have pros and cons, right? But what happens if you do not implement what I'm sharing with you today? And I think that needs to be very clear from the beginning of the presentation, so that way people also pay attention to what you're about to share. What did they have in common? So like I just talked about different businesses here that had just like other businesses, and I think maybe I can just like share the slides here. Yeah. So I had like Kodak, Netflix, Amazon, like just different businesses that I wanted to share. Like most of the businesses that I mentioned there didn't innovate and didn't adapt to the way that they needed to, and what was the result for them. So kind of like scaring them a little bit, but really just wanting to make sure that they understand why this is important. And what do these people have in common, right? So resistance to change, lack of vision, inadequate technological adoption, failure to understand, poor strategy decisions, inability to scale and innovate. All of these things are things that they might relate themselves to, right? So if I'm a business owner, I'm getting this presentation and I'm like, man, I'm feeling like very resistant to this change. I'm going to connect with that, and I'm going to connect with like all these other companies that ended up not really making it, right? So then I just wanted to share that this presentation and any presentation that I do is always value driven. I have different ways of working with people, whether it's like attending our event or our mastermind. But at the end of the day, what I really want to do in any presentation that I do is that I give enough value that they can implement on their own. And if they need it, they need that support, that accountability, that extra layer of support that I might be able to provide, then they can sign up for my services, right? So in this, I was explaining 3 main tools for AI that I was using at the moment. I also did a little bit of the introduction about me, and I always like to ask permission. I actually learned this from Nixon Tonastaso. If you have heard him speak, he's an amazing speaker. And one of the things that he's always asking is like, hey, now, before we go into that, is it okay if I share a little bit about who I am and why you should probably like listen to what I'm saying today, right? Not because I'm an expert in AI, but more importantly, I'm a business owner just like you. And I deal with the same struggles, with the same things that are scaring me about like the business and about me adapting and all this stuff. And so I just wanted to relate. And my background is very specific. I'm from Nicaragua. So like, if they think that they're like, man, I don't know anything about this, like I didn't know anything before, right? Like I come from a third world country. And like still I was able to like with my husband hit the Inc. 5000 list 3 times. So it is possible, right? So I just wanted to like make sure that they understand that they're not alone in this process, and that this can be something that they can adapt and manage and take advantage of it. And then I share a little bit of like what I have been doing when it comes to this topic specifically, hosting virtual sessions and conferences and in-person conferences, right? And then I truly believe that we are the tide that can raise all ships. Like we can really be that if we work together. So I just use some mid-journey in there for this image. Now, the basic thing for AI when using AI is like, what is a prompt, right? Like everybody knows that, but for those that don't know, it's important to like explain them that it really depends on the information, like the outcome that you get from anything related to AI. It really depends on the input that you give it, right? So what is a prompt? A question, a command, or a statement used to interact with AI to get a desired response. And then how to communicate with AI, right? I wanted to like share, it was kind of like this funny meme that I found that there's a husband and wife, and it says here that women use over 70% more words than men. Really? And so I just wanted to say, like, you want to talk to AI like if you're the woman talking in the relationship, right? AI can tell it to ask you questions about the things they need, but you really need to give as much detail, as much color as possible of like the story that you're wanting to paint, or the thing that you're wanting to request, and give as much detail. And then knowing that if you provide all of that, then that's going to give you the best answers, right? The more context you provide to the system, it's going to give you the best answers. I also like share with them how they could personalize their ChatGPT, because I really focus on that one here. If you're using another platform, you just have to like update this with like just how can you help them personalize them and give the content. Then we got tactical. So here's something that I want to suggest you doing before you go into like talking about the different slides that I have next. So as I mentioned, like this was a paid event. So we were charging $97 for them to come for an hour session that included lunch. And so we were able to like partner with the Chamber of Commerce. We were also able to just like run ads for that. And actually, this was a self-liquidating funnel. By the way, if you're interested in that, I'm going to do another video pretty soon on it. So make sure to subscribe so you can get the notifications for that one. So $97 they paid. They came in for an hour and they were able gonna get this like information. And it's more about like learning in a classroom, right? Most of these people, if not all, were not clients of either our masterminds or digital marketing agency. So it was a way for us to like start building relationship, right? So because of that, I didn't know exactly who was coming, right? It was for business owners in general that were really wanting to learn about AI. Now, one thing that I want to share in here that I think helped really in the presentation is that because it was a paid event, I was able to see the emails of the people that were coming. And through that, I had my team just looking over like what type of businesses are coming to the session. And I knew that I was not going to be able to connect with everybody directly and in a personal level like I like to do, because I feel like that's where the real opportunity is to be able to like do like, especially if you're working like us in digital marketing, right? But because of the emails, I was able to understand the industries that were coming, how many, like what industries were like more particularly coming from, just in terms of like more people from that industry. I was also able to understand, like what the need was, what the level probably was, what the application probably was. Or if you're using this presentation for an in-person or even a virtual, I highly suggest, like, if you have like a way to see the registrants, to just go through that exercise of understanding what industry is coming. And then in here, I wanted to give them I wanted to tell them like, hey, I'm going to give you application examples, but I want you to know where to start. And so if you don't know where to start, just say, hey, I have, like, I just like gave this example. I need to set the KPIs for my sales team. Just a use case that is very random, right? This is my business. What do you need from me to help me create this? Ask ChatGPT the questions that you need to answer, so that way you can provide that context. And then what I did is that I shared different examples, and I shared from like a personal standpoint, also from a business standpoint. This one, for example, was more focused on real estate. And then I had another one for a counseling group. I had another one for a coffee shop, for a car dealership. I had another one for just personal diet and for a trip. And in all of these, by the way, the pictures that I used in here were from Midjourney. So I showed them exactly how to accomplish that. Now, in the presentation, I did share my screen to show them Harpa. So as I mentioned in here, I had ChatGPT, Harpa AI, and Midjourney. And shout out, by the way, to Jonathan Mass, because he showed me Harpa, and it was pretty cool. So what I did is that with Harpa, I just went through the system to do a little bit of a stalking of the websites, right? And so I just like did summaries with Harpa, and then like I feeded that into ChatGPT for the context and the things that I wanted to accomplish. So in here, for example, for the counseling group, I was creating scripts for their clients. In here, I was creating a social media post. For the car dealership, I was helping them calculate loans for clients in both languages because they serve the Spanish market as well, and thought, hey, like if your salespeople can have their ChatGPT in their phone, they can quickly just like, hey, what is this? And just like focus on the translation and calculating the loans and all of that. And that was like mind blowing for them. For the coffee shop, instead of focusing on social media, I focused on something more operational. And that also, like, we have a testimonial from that moment, actually, because she was like, I cannot believe that I've been thinking about ChatGPT and using it for like this thing when I could have used it for all these things. And in their case, I focused more on like hiring. This person was located in a town that was it's a university town. And so they had people that come and go, like summers, like all the students are out. So like she needs to hire people. So hiring is a top of mind for her. But I knew that because I knew exactly where she was located in the business, right? So like having the website is so important because of that, or the email. It's so important. And this was like, wow, I can do all of my SOPs. I can do, like, we started talking about operations, which is something that I enjoy. And that's how she was able to like find the thing that she could solve by using AI. And then the last one, I was just giving some like personal examples of like how to create your own meal plan or how to like do your itinerary for your next trip. And some of these pictures, as you know, they look very real. Some of them, if you like zoom into this, like they're really bad. But I just wanted to share like pictures that I gave a little bit of context and pictures that I didn't give enough context to Midjourney and the results. And then I always try to like end with like a call to action that would help them get to the next level. In this case, I was focusing on our next event that's coming up in April 2025, that it's going to be the first growth conference in the South. We have amazing speakers like Corey Robertson, Willie Robertson, Chuck Tucky, Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank, Gary Chapman from Five Love Languages, Jim Johnson, Jimmy Darts, JC, myself, of course, and Jonathan Mast. And I gave them the access to it. And then at the end, I just gave them a QR code that would help them have a financing option. So not only am I giving value in this session that was like super, super tiny, of like growing AI, but we're actually going to host a whole conference, including Damon John from Shark Tank coming, a 3-day conference for them to be able to not only focus on, because we're going to have a track for AI, a track for EOS, but not only focus on their own personal growth, but their whole team, and being able to like give them financing option with also some like major discounts when you're buying for more than one person, because we want everybody to be able to come. We're going to have a track for sales, a track for their marketing team. So like everybody in their business is going to be able to benefit. And that's the thing that I would say for you, if you're looking to add value to others, whether it's through a virtual or in-person presentation, giving them a structure where they go step by step into understanding why this is a problem, why this is important, what happens if I don't solve this problem today, and then giving them actionable items to be able to solve this and apply it on their own. They don't need to work with me to be able to leverage what I shared in that session. But if they do want to work together with me, and if they do want to get more, not only even just from me, that I give them an opportunity to go to our next conference. So hopefully this video added a lot of value, and you can use the slides. Again, I'm going to have them in the description, so you have the link to make a copy and just make it your own. So hopefully this added a lot of value to you. And I cannot wait for you to share maybe in the comments what you would add to this presentation. What do you think would be ideal for the next session that you're going to have? I would love for the community to continue to share in the comment sections things that we could improve, things that you would add. And again, I just talked about 3 basic tools or basic ways of using these 3 amazing tools. There's so many other AI tools that you can use and leverage to be able to take advantage of this. So